hoping this works. Crap.
屋上のゆりれいさん。ゆりって何なんだろう。
Hello everybody, Shadow AB here, coming to you live from YouTube. And yeah, this is, yeah. So a lot of you might not have heard about this game. But you know what, instead of me blabbing about it, let's just find out for ourselves. Oh, I'm already having second thoughts. No turning back now. Alright, so rolling the mouse towards you. Okay. Background, yeah, the volume, blah, blah, blah. Okay. What was that? What was this? What was this? Yes, high school. Another beautiful day. After the end of the holidays, the air up on the roof had really started to feel like summer. The sun was high in the sky, almost annoying in how vigorously it shined. I was already finding my vest stuffy, even though we'd only just changed into our spring uniforms. While we were above the town, I was on the roof. Up here, the breeze was cool and comfortable. I finished off the soup in my little thermos and sighed, relieved that I had been correct to pack a warm meal for lunch. My hands habitually moved to clean up the rest of my food. I closed the lid of my small, two-tiered lunchbox and wrapped it up in a scarf in my lap. Okay, before we proceed further, yes, this is a visual novel. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of reading, so get ready for that. Gathering the bundle, I set my items down on the bench next to me. Then I stood. I, Tomiyuna, propped my elbows against the roof fence and sighed as I always did. Sighed as if my lunch had perfectly filled my stomach and pushed my breath out. I was careful not to lean too far. Students who come up to the roof are asked to not rest against the fence, but the barrier, only a meter high, tempts you to relax on it and looks out over the scenery. The bottom half of my views was a townscape, the top half a shining blue sky. At my eye level were the mountains surrounding the area, silhouettes on the horizon. I could clearly see the summits of the mountains, their peaks sharp against the cloudless sky. The weather really was nice. I could hear the voices of the other students on the roof from behind me, though their words were lost amid the sounds of lunch. They were speaking and meant I must have come up here with someone. The roof seemed more popular than usual today. The first years who had started school a month ago were probably getting used to things by now. You'd probably notice with the roof is the perfect place to eat on days with nice weather like today. I had thought the population up here would rise quickly, but that hadn't proved true. Maybe because we'd been on break. They were probably in their classrooms with friends, discussing all they'd done over the holidays. Nice reading. Strangely, it seems to be mostly single people or groups of two who come to the roof. Those aren't many groups with three or more. Maybe with the larger groups, it's just like more likely that one person wouldn't want to eat up here. Maybe it's too much trouble to climb all the way up when you have too many with you. As for the groups of two, well, I get that. It sort of feels like a picnic when you eat up here on the roof. I imagine it starts when one of them asks, the other thinks it sounds fun and goes along. The people who came to the roof alone may have had friends who just happened to be absent today. Either that or they don't like eating alone in their classroom. Like me. Like me. Anxious in the classroom. Too many people there. Friends, classmates, people who would talk to you and all the prying eyes. There's just too much going on here. That's why I come to the roof during lunch. I come to a place with as few people as possible, and after eating, I look out the scenery. I muttered quietly to myself. Thought about all sorts of things as I started out absent-mindedly at the scenery. Thought? No, things were just coming to mind, really. And it always ends with this line from an old classic. The phrase always pops into my head, and as a habit, I always bring my attention back from the scenery when it does. This time I leaned with my back against the fence. This was also forbidden by the teachers, but no one paid that rule any mind. If they're really that afraid of accidents, they should build a taller fence. But their warnings probably aren't without reason, and I don't need to deliberately ignore them. I picked myself off the fence and sat back down on the bench I'd been using earlier. My hands found their way to my pockets. One of my fingertips ran across a small package, reminding me to take it out. It was something Anu had given me as I'd left the classroom. She laughed, calling it a highly recommended new product. I looked it over and found that the packaging brown sugar lotus root lozenge. Well, she did say it was tasty. I would understand if it was supposed to be flavored with the fragrance of lotus, but why put lotus root in it? And the lozenge? I haven't heard anything about lotus fruit being good for the throat. I took it out of the wrapping to find that it was inky black. Rolling it around in my hand for a moment, I tossed it into my mouth. I almost swallowed the thing. I was surprised by the voices suddenly at my ear. What? I heard voices from behind me. Who were they? I could hear two of them. When did they get back there? No, seriously, what? Poison? What I just swallowed? No, wait a second. I said, turning around. I lost my words. Because there were two girls standing behind me when I turned around. Two girls wearing uniforms I didn't recognize. No, one looked more like a woman than a girl. What exactly am I answering for? One was a bit of an uncouth girl in a white sailor uniform who looked about my age. Her hair was light brown, though it didn't look dyed. The other one wore a typical sailor uniform, with hair long and as black as her clothes. She looked even more grown up than a third-year upperclassman.
ついただけないかしら。なんかね、私たちには味を確かめることができない。どうしたの、サチさん。
What's going on? They've suddenly gone quiet. It was only one piece, so I couldn't even split it anyway. No, that's not it. Why are they suddenly staring at me? They were just laughing a second ago. They were laughing before my eyes. Before my eyes. Right before my eyes. Before my eyes was... Yes. I had the bench to my back, so when I turned around, I should have seen nothing but the fence at the edge of the roof. Two of them were standing there. In the tiny space between the bench and the fence. No, the space isn't wide enough for anyone to stand there. Oh, calm down. I don't know why, but I feel like I can somehow see the fence right through the happy pair. The roof of the 3-story Hoshkin building. They're on the edge of the roof, 10 meters from the ground, without fear, not even touching the fence! Standing there, almost as if they're not floating in the air, they're faintly transparent. I can see the mountains through them. I can see them! I desperately held down the scream that threatened to escape my lips, grabbed my lunch bag, and took off, running toward the door to the stairs. Where? I'm running away from here, of course! Ano Fuji called after me as I entered the classroom and headed back to my seat. She's a friend I made after starting school here, and not counting Hina, one of the few I can be myself with. Ano always greets me when I return to class. She's friendly, but not so friendly that she pesters me about eating alone. She has some bad habits, but I find them a little endearing, actually. Yeah, that's right. I must have dozed off and had a weird dream. White as a sheet? Am I? Noticeably? What should I do? Should I tell her? I had a weird dream? I dozed off and dreamed that I met some ghosts, but she might be creeped out if I said that. I might prefer if both of us could be creeped out together, though. No, I might just laugh it off. She's carefree. Like that. Or I could say dream the bell sing when the beginning of afternoon classes rang. The bell? Already? When did that happen? With an unconvincing chuckle, I waved Ano off and she sat back at her seat. Hip-hop. Somehow I composed myself, possibly thanks to Ano's encouragement, and was able to focus on class a little. The teacher's words weren't quite getting through to me, but I was at least able to copy down the words on the blackboard. My mind wandered as my hands took notes. The only conclusion is that it was a dream. It's not as if I could say with absolute certainty that ghosts don't exist, but I couldn't possibly have seen some myself. That's what it must have been a dream. I must have dozed off, just confused when I woke up and took off running. Glad I didn't tell on though. If I'd gone on like that, I probably wouldn't have been able to pretend it was just a dream. No, it wasn't just a dream, so I wouldn't have to pretend anything. Oh, whatever, I should concentrate on class. I looked back at the blackboard. At that moment, I heard a faint voice just next to my ear. What the fudge? Red letters had appeared on the blackboard. Teacher hadn't written them. I mean, they weren't her neat handwriting. They were round, girlish letters and not in chalk white, but a vibrant red. Shining anyone? Dripping from the edges like wet paint. I heard a clattering sound in my head. That's my teeth, while the noise shook me. Those words were rewritten with no eraser in sight. They faded gradually and new words rose to take their place. I finally screamed and jolted hard enough for my seat to make noise. The teacher had been writing on the blackboard, turned around and stared at me. I was already halfway out of my seat. She turned back to the blackboard. She tilted her head as she looked at the area I was pointing at. She was looking, wasn't she? Couldn't she? Hadn't anyone else noticed? The teacher, everyone around me, no one had noticed, even though the words loomed on the blackboard. Bright red words as if they had been written in blood. That was when I realized I was the only one who could see them. I desperately turned the cogs in my head. I had no idea what to do anymore. On the other hand, the fact that only I could see the words was just a tiny bit comforting. It meant that I was the only one who was crazy here. I like how it just displays this. I sunk back into my chair as the room filled with quiet giggles. Normally my face would be turning crimson with embarrassment. I was too preoccupied to care. I tried feebly to laugh it off again, insisting that there were words on the blackboard that only I could see would only make people laugh at me or think I was crazy. I was a little relieved when Ano turned back around. I looked back to the blackboard as well, hoping that what I've seen had just been a hallucination. But it wasn't! And now new words had appeared on the board! I wasn't as alarmed as I'd been the first time, and though it was still creepy, the letters were a bit too cute to really be scary. Did they have to drip like that, though? This misspelling? Nah, whatever. When the bell signaling the end of my 6th period rang, I sighed and put my head in my hands, my elbows resting on my desk. It was a wretched final 2 periods after lunch. Mysterious blood writing continued popping up endlessly the whole time. On the blackboard, and in the end, it even showed up in my notebook too. The only reason I wasn't already collapsed on the desk was because the writing was now painted across the pages. Though the writing was splashed across it, I could still copy things down from the blackboard. When I timidly pressed a finger to the letters, it came away clean. So it wasn't as though I would get blood all over my face if I laid my head down, but I wasn't exactly eager to do it. So I just covered my face to avoid looking at anything. And I was fine. I had gotten used to it. I've been surprised again with the writing that also appeared on my notebook, but I got used to that too. But it was still creepy. After 2 periods, I was almost able to laugh at it. I found myself about to write "buzz off" in my notebook in response. Am I actually pretty bold? I want nothing more than that, really, but they've been summoning me continuously for hours. If I had just ignored them and went home, who knows what would happen to me? They said they would curse me, though I wasn't sure exactly what that meant. I know I don't like people hanging around me too much at school, and yet she's still that concerned for me. I felt bad for worrying her so much about something she couldn't see. That message was written clearly on the pages of my notebook. Yes, I understand. What the hell? After homeroom, I picked up my bag and left the classroom. Of course, my destination is the roof. I got it. Really, I get it already. I understand. What I had seen during lunch wasn't a dream, and it wasn't a hallucination. It was reality. The voices I'd heard when I'd eaten that candy, the 2 I'd seen when I turned around, had been real. In other words, they were here. These 2 were real ghosts.